Serving is something that we do, but yet how can God use serving to change us? That's a question we're going to answer, and I'm going to talk about 4 points of how God uses serving to change us. We've heard of the word volunteering. In fact, those of us who are from the volunteer state of Tennessee, we know that word, volunteer, and there's much respect and pride that goes into volunteering. Honestly, when I think of volunteering, I think of like volunteering with the PTO or PTA at the school. It's something that we know how to do. Yet, what does it mean to serve, and how can God use that to change us? Volunteering, by the definition, is that we freely agree to help someone undertake a task. Serving is that we act out of God's love for us. We're caretakers of what's been given to us. We use our God-given gifts, and we remember that this isn't about us, it's about God. There's a reading in the Bible in 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 8 through 11, and this is what it says. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. If anyone serves, they should do so with the strength God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen. So, how does God change us through serving? As we see in this reading from 1 Peter, the first thing is that we serve out of God's love. We don't serve out of obligation or guilt or because someone made us feel guilty. We serve because we're just loved so deeply by God. It's through God's love, through God's amazing grace and unconditional love. We are changed by that love, and through that change, we want to serve others. We want to be of service, not volunteer solely, but we want to live out of what God has given us, and we want to be able to pay that forward. So the first thing is we're changed by God's love. Therefore, we want to serve out of that love. The second thing is, and this is a profound thing that 1 Peter talks about, is that we are stewards or caretakers. We've been given this love, and we're to take care of that, and how we can take care of that is by serving. Think about it. Think about something that you have been given that has been entrusted to you, something for you to take care of. And think about being a mom and how our son was given to us and how we are responsible for caretaking for him. God's love, God's grace has been given to us, and we're caretakers of that. And out of that, we serve. We give back. The third thing that how God changes us through serving is that we are given God-given tasks. Got the opportunity to participate in a mission trip for 5 years. This has been several years ago. And the trip was we would go to a certain part in West Virginia or Kentucky or Southwest Virginia, and we would help to make homes safer, drier, and warmer. I don't have any skills building a house or rebuilding a house for that matter. My God-given gifts were we took youth with us, and I would engage with the youth, and I could do tasks, but I knew that my God-given gift was not to go build something. It was to do what I was taught to do, whether it was putting tar on the top of a trailer. It was taking the God-given talent or gift of being able to work with kids. I served using that, the God-given talents and our gifts and graces that God gives us. And each one of us have been created by God to do God's work. And so when we serve out of that God-given gift, and that changes us. We get to see how God has created us, and we get to implement that through serving. The fourth part about how God changes us through serving is we move from a self-centered perspective to a God-centered perspective. No longer is about me and what I want, what I believe should happen, but that I'm focused on where God is leading, on what God needs us to do. So when we think about serving, we think about how we do that through God's love, how we are caretakers of what's been given us. And those gifts that we have been given, we get to use those to serve others and serve with others. And through serving, we shift from a me-centered perspective to God-centered, to others-centered as we go to serve. In the many capacities, and there are big ways we can do that, and there may be what seem like small ways, but all of them are important. So where is it God's calling you to serve? How has God shown his love to you? What have you been entrusted to take care of? What are your God-given gifts and graces? And how can you go serve? That's what we're called to do, to serve. As Jesus came to serve us, we are called to go serve.